I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Scarlet Knights fans, Night Watch listeners, welcome to another episode of Night Watch. I am your host, Larry K. A little late getting to you with Rutgers' latest basketball loss. 80-72, Rutgers falls in Happy Valley to a crowd that looked very sparse, yet they couldn't get it done against a team in Penn State that had been reeling a bit in conference play, especially doesn't have the same prowess at home, but Rutgers just couldn't get it done. And I told you a few days ago, didn't I? We've got to get 10 more wins. We have 4 to lose. And so that's one in the loss column. We are 1-1 since, I don't know if I think I said 10 wins after that last win. So we still got 10 to go. We dropped 1. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So much going on. It's hard to keep up all the time, but I try to get here on this mic as soon as I possibly can to talk to you guys. So if something's a little bit askew, drop it in the comments and let me know. But look, it's not over till it's over, and it's not over yet. We still have to string some wins together, and it can't just be 2 wins at this point. You've got to string, 4 and 5 wins together in the Big Ten in order to get us where we want to go. Next challenge is at Madison Square Garden against Michigan State. They're coming in ranked, obviously playing good basketball, and so this is not going to be easy, another neutral court game. And there's so much talk out there that, the Stars, Bailey, and Harper, they want to play in front of, well, not necessarily in front of anybody, but at MSG because of the storied history of the arena. That's nothing new. Most people want to do that. I have seen some great games and great acts there. I saw Nas there in concert relatively recently, and that was his first time playing MSG, so it's always got some kind of, allure to it. But the rough news, and you hated to see this if you were a Rutgers fan, and this is probably going to carry into Saturday's game, is Dylan Harper driving to the basket, steps on a foot and winds up twisting. It looked like tweaking an ankle there. And that's the last thing you want to see if you're a Rutgers fan. Harper just came off the flu issue, lost weight, was out of action for really 3 games, even though he played a little bit. It hurt the season to an extent, and now more bad luck for Dylan and more bad luck for Rutgers. He tweaks his ankle against Penn State, and it showed in the stats. He continued to play. He had some shots after that. He was hustling. He was doing his best. I know that Rutgers in this season is important to Dylan and important to his family. It's just a shame with the way things are trending that at least he got to wear a Rutgers uniform, but I don't know where this thing is going to go. And, some of it is coaching, some of it is circumstantial, some of it is off nights from certain guys, and some of it is just good old bad luck. And here Harper tweaks his ankle, finishes 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, still a respectable showing, but definitely cut into what he could have contributed had he been 100% for the rest of the game. Ace Bailey has another monster game, 30 points, just and 7 rebounds. So I'll say 2 things about Ace this game, and even the commentators made mention of it. He's finding his shots more within the flow of the offense now. So even though his shots are still sometimes challenged, sometimes still highlight real level shots, they are better shots, better quality shots overall than what we had seen when he was just trying to put the whole world on his back or just trying to go highlight reel. These are more within the flow of the offense. They're better overall shots. And so we've really seen him come into his own, and he's become an absolute force. It's just a shame he's coming into his own. He's an absolute force. We got other guys in the role-playing ranks coming into their own, and Dylan gets a tweaked ankle. It's you can't make it up. You really can't. It's 30 points for Ace, and one, he was playing within the offensive flow of the game, but on the other side of the ball, again, I saw him playing like a forward. 7 rebounds, and he was crashing constantly. He was playing defense, with the best of them up there, deflecting balls, causing trouble, finding his man, causing issues down low and on the boards, and it's exactly what you want to see from Ace. Somerville, 12 points, 6 rebounds. I've liked the way Somerville's also seemed to be coming into his own a little bit better, playing into himself a little bit better, playing within the offense. And obviously he's a good free throw shooter, which is something we've severely struggled with. So that is a breath of fresh air on that particular, part of the game. Zach Martini had a 3. He had 2 rebounds. Him just being a threat can help. But again, it's not like you're getting a ton from him. Outside of Somerville, Bailey, and Harper, he didn't get a ton. Now, this is one of those games, and Dylan Grant had 7 points, by the way, 3 rebounds. I've been saying that you're going to need a third scorer, and that third scorer is going to change from game to game. The problem with this particular game is that the third scorer was Harper and Grant because Somerville was number 2 because Harper was hobbled. And that's not going to be enough for this team to get it done on most nights. Ace Baldwin, 22 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists for Penn State. You saw with the flow of this game, I loved how Rutgers came out initially. They were playing tough defense. They were moving the ball, finding excellent shots, and they were sinking them, and so they were feeling themselves. And I thought Rutgers, the way they hit the floor running, I was fairly confident for a good portion of the game that we were going to see the same Rutgers we've seen the last couple games, and they were really going to start to put this run together, to be completely honest with you. But as the team settled into the first half, some fouls on Rutgers' part, you're on the road, but ultimately it was a fair game, I thought. As you're getting through that first half, Penn State starts to find its way a little bit. They showed that they were not going to go away. They were going to keep coming. Rutgers then, I don't think they had as many defensive miscues early, some certainly, but I think offensively they struggled a little bit especially after Dylan tweaked his ankle. And then the second half, was kind of a back and forth, but once Penn State hit that run with about 6 minutes left to go, Rutgers, all they could do is try to catch up, and they just couldn't quite get it done. Now, 11 of 14 on free throws. Harper did miss 2 early in that game, which was tough to see. 78%, not where you want to be, but not as bad as we've seen in other games. Penn State shot many more free throws, though. They shot 27, we shot 14. That's that home cooking thing. 22 fouls to 14, so it really wasn't as even as I thought it was initially. I thought in the second half, Rutgers was ahead in the foul count a little bit of Penn State, but I guess that evened out. And I know in the first half, it was, Penn State was way ahead with fouls, but that's a big story of the game right there. We're shooting, and this is something that's gone on now in many Big Ten games now. The foul shot discrepancy. The home teams are shooting so many more free throws than the visiting teams, and you really got to overcome that. It's just something that's happening in the Big Ten. I don't particularly love it, but the way it's being called, it's not like Rutgers is always on the short end of the stick. If we're getting more free throws at home and then we have to fight through getting less free throws on the road, I guess that's a fair trade-off. We just have to capitalize in other areas of the game to make up for it. In this particular game, sadly, we weren't able to do that. So 16 turnovers, again, that's going to tell the story a lot with this team. And when you have 16 turnovers, it's hard to win a game. 12 turnovers for Penn State, 9 steals for them, 7 for us. Assists, we had 13, they had 17. Total rebounds, this is a fascinating one, quite frankly. I mean, we out-rebounded Penn State 36-24. We out-rebounded them quite a bit, and I thought we had some really good chances down low with Ogbole getting in there, getting dirty. Grant's in there, mixing it up. Ace was in there, and we were getting second chances, third chances, which is not normally what we get. Usually we're worried about the other team getting that, but we out-rebounded Penn State. And on the defensive side, 24-18. Offensive side, 12-6. So it's frustrating that we lost the game. Field goal percentage 50 to Penn State's 49%. We were 7 of 21 from 3. Penn State was 10 of 20. When 1 for 3, they were shooting 47.6%. right there, that's a couple points that could get you to the equalizer there. So that tells part of the story. I think a bigger part of the story was Dylan Harper being hobbled, and Penn State taking advantage when our defense did struggle a bit, when we did get sloppy on the offensive side of the floor. And I think that's something with this team you have to watch. They can be in the flow of the offense when shots are falling, when things are going well, when they're feeling it. Things can continue to go well. When they hit a bump or two, some guys might try to do too much. We might stop moving the ball as much as we were, and there were some, errant turnovers there, especially down near the end when Penn State made their run. And then it was just too little too late when Penn State has guys they can count on to bring it home and hit shots they needed. I still am, this loss wouldn't mean much because it's a road loss in conference. Had we not dropped to Kennesaw State, had we not dropped to Princeton, had we not had all these other losses. And it's just tough that, a guy like Dylan Grant, who's now really all over the floor, wasn't tapped into earlier. And that some of this, excuse me, some of this stuff wasn't tapped into earlier with this team. That's disappointing because now every win and every loss counts, and we are, sadly one step closer to complete elimination from contention for the tournament here. Of course, that doesn't happen until you lose the Big Ten tournament, but that's a lot to ask for Rutgers to get in and then make a run. So as of right now, another tough loss, another one step back in the ICU bed. We just had the beeping go on the heart monitor. They came in. They got to put them back. They got to re-intubate. They got to, we're back on the bed. We're back in the ICU. We thought we were headed towards maybe a discharge in a few weeks, but we are back in that hospital bed in the intensive care unit. And that's a sad state of affairs because this was a game I think Rutgers could have gotten. It wasn't necessarily any one thing, I don't think, that doomed us at the end. Just Penn State being better in offensive efficiency late in the game, shooting free throws that kept them ahead of us and sealed the win, and Rutgers not really being able to drive it home with the offensive firepower that they are capable of getting to. Part of that may be some of the hobbling of Dylan Harper. Overall, it's just something that's been a trend this season, and we have our ebbs and flows on offense, and that's what happens. The rotation before that, and I think if Dylan hadn't had that injury, the rotation I thought was, it's getting to a point where you can count on it. I mean, Durkak's playing a few minutes, and he's getting in there and bringing his energy and creating when he can near the rim and creating where he can and playing defense, but he's not in there nearly as much as he was earlier in the season. Grant getting a ton of run. He's an absolute glue guy. He's what you need on a team like this. And we've seen it before in previous iterations of Pikel teams. He's getting done what he needs to get done. And the rotation, Martini now getting a few minutes, and when he gets the minutes, he's sinking at least a 3 or 2, which now on tape and now in game, other teams have to worry about and account for him, and that creates issues. And you can exploit those issues with him playing that. I mean, we're at a point where the guys and the rotation is starting to make sense. You're not seeing much of Hayes because he's got liabilities on the defensive side of the floor. And, he can hit a 3 open, but he hasn't been able to do that. It's hard for him to create his own shot. So, the rotation and the team and the way they're playing is kind of where you want them to be. But overall, now you have another injury and you're hobbling a little, and you meet a team on the road that doesn't want to go away, and you wind up with a loss. And it's tough to swallow when you don't really have much margin or room for error. I thought early when Rutgers was playing D, it looked like they were kind of in like a hybrid D, kind of a zone thing going on early on there, and they were comfortable there, making sure no one got, they've move toward the ball, and then make sure when it swings back around they're doing the same, and they were locked in there, and but it just they couldn't overcome it at the end there, and this is what we've come to now. So next up, MSG, Michigan State. Hopefully I'll be there. We're still waiting to see, but there's a good chance I'll be in the building there. And we continue to fight. I will have another show about football soon. There's so much going on with recruiting, transfers, etc. So we're going to need to talk about that. And, Night Watch is going to keep rolling. And Larry K is going to keep bringing you content despite a busy life. So those of you who have not yet subscribed, if you're stopping in for the first time or it's your, a bunch of times here, click that subscribe button on the way out. Make sure you join Night Watch. We're growing slowly but surely, thanks to all those who have subscribed already. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so smash that button. It's greatly appreciated. And remember, this is available as an audio podcast as well. And I will talk to everybody very soon about Rutgers. Don't lose the faith quite yet, although we're back on life support. Larry K is out.